What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Just United. Today is a very big episode. It's our 100th episode on the podcast, and we have a very special guest, Mr. Adam Mckola, Manchester United Fan TV royalty, in the house.
Nice to meet you, brother. Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me as well. Great to be here, man.
In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the season so far. There's a few things I want to talk about, but yeah, let's start. Let's get straight into it.
What are you making of it, man? It's a bit of a, it's been abysmal, isn't it? Really.
I know it's been terrible. We're currently, what is it, 15th in the league?
I don't even look at the league table anymore. You know, we could be 14th, we could be 15th. I'm not too sure, but the Premier League campaign's been the worst one we've ever been a part of. And it has just been a mess of a Premier League season, and it's quite disappointing as well. Like, you look at the league table, Liverpool obviously excellent at the moment, but City dropping off, you know, the title kind of, there being no title race. It does make you consider like the amount of time and money and stuff Man United have wasted. I think there's obviously bigger issues at the club as well with the ownership and the debt and all those kind of things. But, you know, you look at so much money has been wasted, and, you know, the likes of Sancho, Anthony, not even at the club, and we spent on just on those two alone like 150 million. So yeah, it's annoying to see there being like probably one of those years where if you had your shit together, you could probably win the league. You know what I mean? And then we've just wasted all this time and money, and
Liverpool look like they're walking away with it as well.
Yeah, 20 all as well. It's going to be like, that's just even more depressing.
Yeah, I know. That's what makes it worse as well. And obviously with Ruben, when he's come in, he's obviously been adamant that he's not changing his formation. And, you know, he says in press conferences that when he plays the formation, doesn't mean that, you know, he's saying that he won't change it. It's just the way he sees football, that's what he wants to stick with.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think of that? Do you think that he should change it?
I like Ruben, and I think he should stick to his guns. He should be, you know, focused on making sure the team know how to play his style of football. Now, he's going to have to adapt. Every manager has to adapt. We've seen, you know, when managers move on, progress in their careers, they adapt, and you obviously have to adapt for opposition. With Ruben Amorim, he's come to a new league, so he's going to have to adapt to that. And, you know, there's going to be things that people see and, you know, target in terms of his teams in the Premier League, and he's going to have to adapt and try and adjust his methods.
And when he comes out and says that he's not going to change, and it's easier for the opposition to prepare for it, don't you think as well a little bit?
But I think when he says I'm not going to change, I think he means his philosophies and his... No formation is ever rigid or fixed. You know what I mean? I think when you look at us at times, we do go into a back four. It's not, we don't stay in a back three all the time. And also, if you have good, like, people seem to suggest it's a negative formation or a negative way to play. But if you have your wing backs actually doing their job, and you have good wing backs in those positions, we've seen the improvement Dorgu's already made to the team, then I think it's a formation that can give you good attacking football. So I think it's good that he doesn't need to change.
What do you think of his record so far? 24 games, lost 10.
It's abysmal, innit? But you look at it as well. Just look, when we look at the squad, look, I think he could have done something better. But I also agree he shouldn't just go back to what we were doing before in order to kind of have some, not short-term success, but some short-term,
like Ten Hag,
improvements. When we saw that never got us anywhere anyway. So if we're gonna change, and we're gonna bring a manager in, change to his tactics, change to his philosophy, change to his culture, then you have to give him time to do that. But if you do look at the squad as well, like, I know we're gonna go through it a little bit later, but if you look at the squad, there's not much of it that you'd actually keep.
100%,
and you look at key positions, he's been relying on, at times, Casemiro and Eriksen. I don't think anyone wants to be in that position. He's been relying on Højlund, who's been misfiring all season. You know, we haven't had any backup in that position. So, and then you look at the wide players we've got, especially once you let Anthony and Rashford go, in terms of numbers, you've hardly got any there. And then Amad Diallo gets injured. So I think it's probably makes sense when you look at the squad and the position that it's in terms of players that we're paying that aren't here and the injuries we've got.
What do you make of some of those players, like Mount, for example? Obviously paid big money for him from Chelsea.
I think he's a very good player, but
Just too injury prone.
We've never seen it. He's always injured, so...
Do you think that's because he runs his socks off too much in the game, though?
Possibly. But I also think when players are injury prone and they try... I think what they try and do is maybe... I don't know, have you ever like had an injury and you try and run in a different way and then you pull something else?
Yeah.
It's like, I think they start to do things like that. They start to try and change the way they do things on the pitch. They don't play their natural game, and then they start to pick up other injuries. And some people's bodies are just...
I think it happened to Neuer the other day where he's literally doing a celebration when they scored and he pulled his calf. And now he's out for a little bit of time.
I didn't see that, to be fair, but like it just happens, you know what I mean? You can get injuries, and we've seen like Phil Jones and Luke Shaw and Mason Mount. I do have some sympathy with him.
Yeah.
Because it must be...
Even for Luke Shaw still?
Yeah, look... There's a I can have sympathy for the human being in that,
because I guarantee he'll be fit for England if he comes back.
I thought that was a huge mistake by him, and since that I've lost my head with him.
Yeah.
But you have to have sympathy for some players who just are constantly injured. You imagine you've got your dream job. You're a footballer now, and every time you get fit, you get injured, and then you have to go through that whole cycle of recovery and all rehab and all that stuff. Must be quite mentally.
Yeah, it's got to be draining, obviously, you know. But then you see other players like Bruno. I think it was last season where he had his foot in a boot.
Yeah.
And then the next game he was playing.
Yeah, but some injuries you can't play through, innit?
I agree with that, yeah.
Hamstring injuries, and you can't play through muscle injuries and stuff like that. Like, you're only going to compound them and make them worse.
Do you think...
But I also think Bruno's just that guy.
Yeah.
I think he'd play with a leg
100%. What did you make of his handball yesterday?
We've all played football where we've done stupid things. I thought it was... If the referee gives it, I haven't really got a problem with it. It's hit his hand, and his hand's like here. So you can see why... But the fact that no one kind of reacts to it, and then it goes to VAR and they pull it... I thought that was a little bit harsh, but...
You ruined too many childhoods.
It's...
You're going to always pull us up.
It was handball, though, man.
No, it was handball.
I can't complain at Bruno. I love Bruno.
Okay.
I think he's class.
Do you think some of this is down to Erik ten Hag's poor recruitment? Because
I actually think if you look at our recruitment last summer, I don't actually think our last summer recruitment was that bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'd keep Lenny Yarrow, I'd keep De Ligt, I'd keep Ugarte, I'd keep Xerxes. Who else do we sign?
I think
De Ligt, Yarrow, De Ligt, Mazraoui.
Yeah.
I'd keep, like...
Decent signings, yeah.
I don't think there's an issue with those signings. So, and then you look at the signings INEOS have actually made, which include those, Dorgu, some of the younger lads, Chido, Obi, Aiden, Heaven, Diego, Leon. You know, there's links to Giovanni Kender at the moment. Like, we seem to be targeting the right profile of players. So I think INEOS have improved in that aspect despite all the mistakes they've made. But the recruitment before that has
been, not
Sancho, which happened to Oli.
No assists in 10 games, by the way. Freedom.
Yeah, he's got freedom apparently. you got Anthony on 85 million. It's not there anymore. You got so many different players we've signed that we've seen go out the door for less than we bought them for, or we're still paying for them to be here, and we're not going to recruit that cash. So
100%.
I think that's where the recruitment issues come from, and hopefully they've rectified it.
Okay. So moving on now, I want to talk about Bruno Fernandes.
Yes.
Obviously, he gets a lot of stick. He's first for most progressive passes, most long passes, most chances created since his debut in 2020 in the Prem. And, you know, Roy Keane had a little bit of an outburst on the overlap saying, you know, talent's not enough to be captain of Manchester United. Do you agree with that outburst? And do you think that Bruno is the problem?
I didn't agree with Keane there. I thought it was very harsh. And
he lost his rag, didn't he?
I think there was more. I think he was a bit annoyed with Wright kind of like chipping in at him. And I think he was probably just generally in a bad mood that day. And I think Roy Keane would have loved to play with Bruno.
Yeah.
And I think, who was it that came out and said that the other day? One of the legends, Andy Cole.
Oh, yeah.
I think when he was speaking to Rio, kind of said he'd love to play with Bruno. And I think Bruno would be a star in a Fergie team as well.
No, he definitely would.
I don't think there's...
With those chances created, he'd have a lot more assists.
Well, just look at the way he plays. He never stops running. He's always willing to take a risk. He scores goals galore. He's creating chances and creating assists galore. Like, what is it he doesn't do? Do you know what I mean?
I think what people probably get annoyed about is, obviously he shows his frustration a lot. But I personally see that,
So
when
Roy Keane?
Yeah, when with Roy Keane, where he'll show his frustration, he'd get mad at another player and he'd get something out of them. But I feel like because Bruno, the rest of the team isn't great, when Bruno does that, it kind of goes the other way where,
but then
heads
Roy
drop.
Keane was rollicking Beckham and Giggs and Rio and
But like
Ronaldo and he only played with Ronaldo for a year, but he was rollicking all those players.
But I don't know.
Different talent, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
but I feel like the
surrounded by
reaction
leaders.
sometimes that you get it goes the other way where the heads will drop. Like they'll feel that he's having a go at them when really he just wants to win the game.
Yeah, that's all it is, I think. And I get frustrated with how frustrated and emotional he is sometimes, but I'm probably like that too. So it's
he's like with that penalty yesterday, he's gonna be screwing. He's gonna be like, oh, you know what? I've let my team down. And the next game against Real Sociedad, he'll wanna put it right.
Yeah. And I think he will.
But it's just difficult because in any other team, if he played for City, he'd be creating chances. Like he's done better than De Bruyne. I don't think anybody but De Bruyne has got more assists than him. But in terms of chances created, he's done better than De Bruyne.
It was just who he's putting him on a plate for.
Yeah.
De Bruyne has been feeding Aguero and Haaland.
Easy.
Like
sometimes
he's been feeding Højlund and Igalo and Weghorst and all these players.
Exactly, and I just feel for him. I just hope that he doesn't get too old before we maybe win a league or win a major trophy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't begrudge him if he actually left and went to a team that is
Where could you see him going?
I think he could play for anyone. Genuinely, I think he's someone that would thrive at Real Madrid. Obviously, they've got players in those positions, but I think he'd thrive there. I think he'd thrive at Barcelona. I think he'd thrive at any club you put him in, but I think he will stick around at United because I think he's just that kind of guy.
Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is INEOS. Obviously, job cuts.
Yep.
Sacking Dan Ashworth after, paying so much money to get him. Sacking Eric Ten Hag. Those kind of things. Do you think they should have done it sooner rather than later with Ten Hag? Or
look, in hindsight, it's easy for me to say yeah. But I remember at the time, my personal feeling was they should have stuck with him. I said that before the cup final.
Yeah.
Because I liked Ten Hag and I thought he was making a good situation out. Well, he was doing okay in a bad situation. I don't think anything was really great. But at the same time, if INEOS knew they didn't fancy him and they knew he was just, walking on a tightrope, then they should have made that decision a lot earlier. And you're wasting money on a contract. You then have to pay him out a lot more. The Dan Ashworth thing, I look at it from two perspectives. One perspective is that do your research on him, and you wouldn't be sacking him late. Like you don't appoint him, you don't have to sack him early. If
there's rumours that the reason that they sacked him is because Sir Jim told him that you gotta get rid of these people that they're doing the redundancies, and he was against it.
Yeah, but you've also heard other things where he didn't really have much of an input into the manager, the managerial appointment. He was suggesting other things and stuff like that.
Graham Potter.
I didn't mind Graham Potter at the time, to be totally honest with you. But when you look at the decision there with Dan Ashworth, so you got do your research and you don't appoint him.
Yeah.
Or the flip side of it is they knew it weren't working.
Yeah.
They knew it weren't working, and instead of just letting a bad working environment fester, they've ended it straight away. And you could probably go, you know what? I admire that kind of ruthlessness in, all right, it's not working, let's get rid. Instead of just keeping him hanging around for no reason. Do you know what I mean? So I look at it from those two perspectives, really, but it is a waste of money, no matter what perspective you look at it from.
Do you think they let Ruben down? Because obviously, he's come in, they've signed him up, he's come in, and I don't know what it is with the Man United job. Every manager that comes in, after a month or so, they look like they've been run ragged.
Stressed.
Yeah.
He doesn't look as cool as he once did. Now,
do you think they've let him down?
What we got to remember is, they had their hands tied in a sense in January. I'm not going to look. I think the ticket pricing issue was a disgrace that they've done that. I think, people losing jobs and the way it's been done probably could have been handled a little bit better. I think when you see things like taking away food and £50 bonuses to stewards and things like that, I don't think that's going to move the needle enough for them, for the financial position that we're in, right? But then you go, they're not to blame for the fact we couldn't make transfers in January without putting ourselves in PSR issues. They're not to blame for the debt. They're not to blame for, all the other financial issues that are going at the club, the billions that we spent on interest.
They could have stuck with Ten Hag for the rest of the season and then brought Ruben in at the end? Like with a fresh...
But if you know it's not going to work, you can't keep Ten Hag if you're going to announce that you've got Ruben Amorim to the end of the season. That's just not going to work. Could they have kept Ruud van Nistelrooy until the end of the season? And maybe, but at the same time, bringing Ruben in, I think...
What about in that situation? Do you think that maybe Ruben could have kept Ruud around, or do you think that it would have been where he was hanging over with him?
Don't keep someone around that. I think is disrespectful to both. If you're just keeping Ruud around for the sake of it, if there's no space for him in his coaching staff, then don't keep him around. But then I'm
just thinking of it from a point of view where we haven't been scoring any goals, and he could have worked with maybe Højlund and Xerxes a little bit more, and maybe turned Højlund into a little bit more of a finished article in terms of his finishing.
But then Højlund wasn't scoring when he was here.
But he got a little bit.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think it's that much of a change. Like, and we bought a striker that should be scoring goals. I understand he's going to go through difficult patches. You shouldn't have to bring in a legendary striker to make him score goals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know Benny McCarthy was doing quite well with the players as well before that. But yeah, I'm kind of glad Ruben's got there now, because if he came in the summer, right, what you're going to see is all these players start to play well in the summer.
Yeah.
He keeps all of them, and then during the season they do this crap again.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad he's got to learn about most of the players there. But it'd be interesting to see whether he would have took the job if he knew
the situation,
just how bad the situation was.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to do a keep, sell, bench.
Yeah.
I'll run through the players.
Safe.
And then you tell me if you keep him, if you sell him, and if you bench him. Tom Heaton.
You let him go, innit? Probably don't even sell him.
Bindier.
Keep him. I think he's a decent backup. Wow. Have we seen enough from him? But I mean, I wouldn't really be bothered about that if he went and gone, but I'd keep him.
There's rumours we're in for another keeper as well.
I think then it would be Onana who's at
risk.
State. Yeah, you're not going to keep Onana as a backup, are you?
Okay. So on Onana, it's a tough one, isn't it?
So, but I don't think it happens this summer.
Yeah.
I think Onana's there next season.
Maguire.
So,
Lindelof.
I think he's gone anyway on a free, isn't he?
Okay,
but
don't renew us with it.
No, renew it.
Martinez.
Keep.
Dallo.
Keep.
Evans.
I think
I'd keep him,
But I don't think he can. He's probably going to retire.
Yeah.
So if he retires, he retires. If it maybe becomes like part of the coaching staff or something at an academy level, but
Malacia.
So
Amas.
Keep, definitely.
Yoro.
Oh mate, I love Yoro. Keep him.
Luke Shaw.
I don't think we can sell him. I just don't think he passed the medical. I don't think anyone gives us any money for him. But if we can, sell him.
Okay. Delic.
Keep, 100%.
Mazraoui.
Keep.
Dorgu.
Keep. The little we've seen of him has been positive, apart from getting sent off.
Yeah, he's in his debut.
And I blame that goal on Onana, not on him.
Yeah, he's one of them ones needed a shout. Yeah. Midfielders now. Mason Mount.
Again, same as Luke Shaw, you probably can't sell, but I do like him as a player. And do you remember how Ruben Amorim spoke about him when he first got here?
He loved him, didn't he?
I think Amorim would keep him. So keep.
Do you think he should have given him the number 7?
No.
Who do you think should have got it?
Who was there? When did that decision get made? Yeah, I think I was for Garnacho getting it.
Do you think that could have turned him even?
Nah. Look, I'm a big fan of Garnacho's.
Yeah.
I think there's a player there. He's having a bad one though, isn't it? And he needs to stop being so greedy. But hopefully he'll learn that.
Okay. Bruno, obviously we spoke
Keep.
about him. Eriksen,
So,
Casemiro.
with a lot of respect, so
Doesn't look like he's going to leave though, does it?
I think that's bargaining. I think that's agent talk. Like,
Think he'll go to
if you
Saudi.
want to sell me, you got to pay me off. Or if I can't get the wages that he's going
Mainly
to get, keep 100%.
go. Dan go.
I'm not too sure. Maybe a loan or something.
Okay. Agate.
Keep.
Okay, now into the forwards. Hoyland. He looks like he's forgot how to score this season.
Based on his first season, he was quite good. He scored
Champions
16
League.
goals in a crap team.
that little run
He
in
was
the
top
Champions
scorer in the Champions League when we went out. Like,
But
what the hell's happened to him
I
this
see
season?
it. Do you know, like in a game where before, like I can't remember. I think it was yesterday's game. He's got a ball over the top, and instead of thinking, let the ball come here and keep running, he just gone into the player. Like he always wants to wrestle, and I don't know how
like when people, when like maybe like he's been coached right, and they've gone right. You need to learn to be more physical,
Yeah.
and and it's like he's
Just
uber focused.
doing-
He's just focusing on that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's forgetting everything else. But then you look at the game against Sociedad, the low passing
Pass
the
the
ball.
ball. Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
You look at like he should just post that and go, "This is why I can't score." You know what I mean? But then you look at
Yeah,
Cheeto Obi come on for 15 minutes against Fulham,
And he's
created 3 chances
chaos.
for himself.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
So
it's
there's
like,
both. I
I'll
don't
see
like
if-
giving up on young players, especially
do-
once you've seen a glimpse of what it's like with Garnacho.
Yeah,
You've seen a glimpse of what's there.
You do feel for him as well, because obviously like that position that Dalot was in, if he passes that across, it's easier goal. And you see it so often where Garnacho ends up having a shot and then, he gets pissed off and he's like, why don't you pass it? But sometimes I feel like he just gets pissed off too much as well.
Yeah.
Do you know, like it's
And
too...
his runs aren't like run across defenders for the front post or
yeah,
the back post
yeah.
or make those runs.
And
where,
and like when he's running, he's always looking to get the ball to feet. He's not thinking where, and that's what I think sometimes in training as well. It's like if the ball's coming in, and with the training, and a cross is coming, but I think with our players, it's too hard for him to predict. Like you look at Arsenal, Martinelli when he goes down the wing or Saka goes down the wing, they're either gonna go. If they cut inside, they're going for goal. But if they're on the wing, they're going to cross it.
Yeah.
And that ball's coming. But with Hoyland, I think it's too chaotic for him to think where the ball's coming from.
It is. But then you look at some of the goals he scored in his first season. They were like a variation of goals, shots from outside the box, headers. He scored a great volley against Bodo Glimt this season in Europa League.
Yeah.
Poaching goals in the 6-yard box, just like getting scruffy goals, and then I don't know where that guy's gone. That's why I find it hard to like. But
that's what my question was about Rude.
If someone offers me 40 million, get rid.
Because that's why I had the question about Rude, is because if he was there, he'd be saying to him, obviously,
But you shouldn't need I'm sure Ruben has attacking coaches, what I mean.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need Ruud van Nistelrooy there to say, bruv, shoot, have a shot.
But I feel like he might listen more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because he had 0 shots against Sociedad.
Yeah.
There was a time where he was on the edge of the box, shoot,
Like Xerxes,
push it out your feet
Xerxes,
and shoot.
Yeah.
Like Garnacho constantly does, push it out your feet and shoot, because you got Garnacho taking 5 shots into the side of the net. You may as well take something.
Yeah. Okay, a big one now. Marcus Rashford. I know what I would do.
I would keep him, but
Keep him on loan.
no, keep. But I think we're gonna sell him.
What if he wins the Champions League?
I think it just means we get a better price for him.
But
Because his issues aren't.
You sell him at that point.
His issues are not ability. His
belief.
issues are whatever's going on with him.
Yeah. They always say, it's when he's broken up with his girlfriend or he's with his girlfriend, he always bangs a hat trick or whatever. But I don't know. I think
I love
mentally,
Marcus.
I do too. And I've always backed him. And when you can see it as well, like now he's at Villa, he's enjoying it. And, I think created
pressure at
6
United
chances.
is a joke,
6 chances, the most he's created in the game since Wigan. That game he played against Wigan.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's getting the freedom to do what he wants. But at United, I feel like, everybody gets bogged down by the pressure. But And it's like with Ten Hag as well, like when we were going through a sticky patch with him, if the players are scoring goals and they, it's not like Ten Hag or Ruben Amorim saying to him, don't go out there and don't score a goal. Don't try and be free. Like obviously there's a system to play, but you still got the freedom to do what you want when you go forward and attack. Obviously getting back in defense is a different thing, but
yeah, I think a lot just went wrong for him. I think his application in training, his issues off the pitch, I think you've got all those things where maybe it's probably the right time for both parties to move on, but
you look at it like...
If there's a way back and there's some reconciliation there, then I'd keep him. But we're probably, and if you look at INEOS, they're probably thinking 300 grand a week, you get 40 million for him, do it. So I think he's gone. But in a perfect world, we keep him.
Okay. Joshua Zirkzee.
Keep that boy, man. He's so good.
He's coming. He looks like he's trying to enjoy himself.
Yeah, he's class, man.
Yeah. Ahmad.
Keep.
Our form's kind of fell off a cliff.
We don't go out of the cup against Fulham if Ahmad's playing.
Yeah.
I don't think. He gets us through that game. It's kind of like, the Southampton game. He just pops up with a hat-trick.
Garnacho.
Keep.
Anthony.
So.
Wheatley.
Loan, I think. He's just signed a contract, I think. So I'd send him out on loan, maybe. He's been doing well.
And then final one, Jadon Sancho.
Well, I think he's gone, isn't he? He's gone.
Unless
and I wouldn't break
Chelsea
that
find another loophole.
Well, their loophole is they got to finish 15th or below to not sell him.
Yeah.
And we're finishing 15th, so I don't know how they're going to manage that. They've got a lock on 15th. We're doing it for 25 million quid.
Academy players, obviously, sticky patch this season.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should just play academy players now to the end of the season? With like Cheeto obviously coming through, you got Jack Fletcher, you got Heaven.
Yeah, you got a lot of talent in there. You got Morehouse, the two Fletchers. You got obviously, Cheeto, you got Godwill, you got a lot of talent in there. I think the way out of this mess, especially with PSI issues and that, we're probably going to be lucky to sign 4 players in the summer, right? If you can sign 4 players in the summer and you get rid of the players you want, I think you then fill your squad with young players. The way out of this mess is through the academy. Like, you look at Barcelona, they were pulling levers left, right, and centre. They were going into debt.
Selling the stadium rights, yeah.
And how did they get out of it? None of their big, shiny signings. I know Lewandowski done really well for them, but none of their huge signings really got them out of it. It was their young players. And obviously they've got some incredibly talented young players. But United have been doing well in that regard in terms of, scouting players, signing players. Our academy's been doing well. I definitely, look to that. To
blood him in now.
And even like buying Diego Leon.
Yeah.
Mate, I've never seen him play football in my life. But buying him means you're looking for a player where it's going to cost you probably a couple of million quid all in with wages and that. And if they're a success, there you go. You know what I mean? You haven't wasted 50 million exactly. on some risk.
And obviously with, PSR and things, they obviously talk about selling Garnacho mainly. Do you think one of them potentially has to go?
Garnacho.
Yeah,
I'd sell one. I wouldn't. I'd
do you think
Garnacho's
got a higher ceiling?
No.
Than Mainu?
I think Maino's such a gifted footballer. I don't think, you got to remember when I say this, Paul Scholes started as a striker.
Yeah.
Pogba maybe. But I haven't seen really as technically gifted midfielder come through our academy.
The way he bossed that
Raval Morrison.
Yeah.
Maybe. Actually, Raval and Pogba were up there. But
Greenwood, obviously.
It was a Greenwood's... I remember saying, like, Greenwood was by far...
the best out of the crop.
Like, he was the best teenage player I'd seen since Wayne Rooney. And Wayne Rooney's the
ability to finish right, left
just
foot,
left foot, right foot, whatever. Obviously, it's
sticky
situations out
one.
of United's hands in it, but
it
was
because saying that might help if somebody comes like PSG coming for him.
Well, yeah, because I think we got 50% on that in it, it could help a lot.
So you'd sell Garnacho
if I had to out of those two,
Okay. Europa League. What do you think's going to happen? Because obviously after yesterday's game, we seem to be cruising at 1-0, looking for the second goal, and then obviously the penalty happens.
I'd have taken that result before the game because
Yeah.
I thought we were going to lose, if I'm being honest.
Route to the final. We've got in the quarterfinals. We've got Leon, FCSB. Obviously, we've already played them, and then in the semi-finals, Fenerbahce, Rangers, Roma, potential Jose link-up,
See,
and Athletic Bilbao.
I think we could get, if we get to them semis and you're likely playing Bilbao or Roma,
Yeah.
I know one of them have to go out, don't they? They're playing each other. Did Roma get a win the other day? Did they score
100%.
late on? I remember seeing some of the game. Let me just check that. But my feeling on that, if you get Rangers who are like 5-1 up at the moment, 3-1
We played
up,
them
sorry.
as well already.
Yeah,
this
we've
season.
already played them, beat them. Yeah, Roma did win late on. I think Bilbao will go through though. So but my point is, if we get Bilbao in the semi-finals, we need Kobbie Mainoo back. We need Amad Diallo back. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to go through in that. But,
Do you think we'll make it past next week then?
Yeah.
Are you going to the game?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
No, I won't be there. Sorry, I forgot. I'm going to Italy for the poker, so I'm going to miss that. Got it.
Where in Italy?
Campione's by. It's not far from Como.
Okay. Nice.
So
Never been.
Como's one of the best places I've ever been.
Yeah.
So if it's anything like that, it'll be good.
Okay.
But yeah, I won't be there unfortunately, but I do think we're going through.
Okay. Summer transfers. Dream striker, dream midfielder, and dream defender. Obviously, we've been linked with quite a few strikers.
I think when's Lissandro going to be back? He's not going to be available for pre-season, is he? But like in Lenny Yarrow and Dillit, I think we've got a Mazraoui. You could have
Solid
a back
base.
three there.
Yeah.
Then you've got Dorgu on the right or the left. He's played him on both.
Maguire as well. He's been decent.
With Maguire, look,
It's confidence.
I think he works really hard, and I think he's been very good this season. And it's admirable to see him kind of like battle through and want to really fight for United. I appreciate all of that.
Yeah.
But now his stock's gone up. I would look to sell him. Like his stock's gone back up. He's not really looked at as he was like 12 or 18 months ago. And you could probably get 30 million for him.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't, but I'd take whatever money we could get for him. Because you
Obviously
have
rumours about West Ham, wasn't there, previously?
Yeah, you have just brought in Aiden Heaven. You brought in, and I think we could sign another centre back. I don't really know who to sign, man.
There's talks of Osimhen.
The striker I would
Gyökeres.
like is Osimhen.
Okay.
I don't want Gyökeres.
Don't want him.
Well, I'm not saying it's anything against Gyökeres. One thing that bothers me is he's scoring in all these goals in Portugal. How certain are we he's going to...
A Hoyland vibe.
No, it's like... You know how we just signed whoever was doing well for Ten Hag and it just backfired? It's like... It feels like that kind of signing. Make a signing that's based off research and you're looking at them and all those kind of things. Like, I think Osimhen could be a good choice because he's 26, 27.
Yeah.
He's at when he was at Napoli, his stock was up here. Unless you're paying 100 million, you're not getting him. You could probably get him for half that, maybe less.
Obviously, Gyökeres, obviously the age is a thing as well.
And then we're bringing in another young striker. And if you bring in him, I wouldn't mind keeping Hoyland as a backup because I see Xerxes probably as one of the other two either side of the striker, just dropping deep. I don't see him as an out-and-out striker. So we probably need a striker anyway.
Okay.
On top of that. So, I'd like Osimhen. You know what?
Better than Ericsson, that's all I'm going to say.
He hasn't played football for so long, and we've been back twice now. We've been back once already before. Hasn't gone to plan. Look, you move on and you go forward, but I was definitely definitely interested in sniffing out in January and bringing him in.
Yeah.
I would have, because I think he's got a point to prove as well. I think he's had a lot of stuff going on in his personal life. You look at the crazy court case that went through and all that. That couldn't have been easy to handle. We didn't really know that was going on at the time. I like Pogba. If you could get him on, you remember the Michael Owen deal, just pay to play or whatever. I'd do it. But,
I don't think he'd sign for that though, would he? He'd probably want a proper contract, wouldn't he? I
think he would now.
Come back and play
low basic, and then you get loads of bonuses.
But would you take him back then?
Me, yes, but my brain says move on.
Okay. Okay.
I'd still take David Beckham back. You know what I mean? And he's like 50 years old.
He looked class in that game that he played though, the charity game. Next season, what's the plan for Ruben Amorim and INEOS?
Get a good pre-season in. Hopefully get some business. You know what they need to do? You know when the season finishes? I want to hear we've signed 3 players like out the
Straight
gate.
away. Yeah.
Show me,
you can bet him
like,
in.
you know, like show me, because it kind of makes us think, oh, they're doing their job properly. We haven't had this since probably 2007 when we got like Nani, Anderson, Hargreaves and Tevez just like wrapped up quick time. Like, I think you do that and you know, if Giovanni Kender's the guy.
Yeah. Go out and get him.
Boom, he's done.
Yeah.
Boom, this guy's done. I know Diego Leon's coming in. Boom, 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 boom. Here's your players, they're done. And we get to July and we're like...
Think Ruben makes it to the summer?
Yes, 100%. He has to. You don't sign him and then get rid... Like, I think they'd probably be going to him. Ruben, I'm so sorry we brought you into this mess. I think that's more likely the conversation than them sacking him. Like, otherwise, they're mentally deluded. But I think if we can have a good preseason, get them signings done, bring in the young players, you have like, maybe if there's any negativity going on, you get them out of there and then just move forward. I think, you know, when everyone goes, it's going to take 10 years to get back on that.
You look at Chelsea. Like,
I think if you have one really good window and you start a season well, I'm not going to say we're going to win the league, but all of a sudden it's like...
Sure, 21
still is definitely coming. But like, you know, just like you suddenly go, oh shit, we're in the top 4.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like, oh, first we're going to have to get 10th. And then we're going to have to get 7th. And then we'll get top. I don't think it has to always be that way. And I think you look at some of the players we signed. Lenny Oro, I think if he can stay clear of injury, have a good summer. The Lit's growing and is becoming a big player for us, I think. You know, you've got Dorgu in. I think Mazraoui. I think, you know, Kobe Mainoo, if he can be fit. Bruno fit. Ugarte fit. Like, it's important to keep some of these players fit. Yeah. If you have all of these players fit and we're going into August, I think we're looking at the team a little bit differently. And then you win the first game of the season or 2 and you're like, oh, picking up some momentum, things are going on. Have you seen that guy that's not shaving his hair till we've been fighting? Bro.
Oh, mate.
I hope that brother's... he's going to have a hot summer.
He's going to look like Rapunzel soon.
Yeah, he's going to have a hot summer, man. He's going to be sweating.
Yeah. Seen it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was good. Appreciate you coming down. And
thanks for having me, man. And good luck with the channel and that. Everyone, make sure you subscribe because it's massively important. I know people don't really care about what they do. They just want to watch videos. But hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing and it'll help us out massively.
That was the season review, guys. And we'll catch you on the next one. See you later.